Let's check in on Phoenix because Kevin Durant, he's a star that might need a little bit more love. Kevin Durant is averaging 28 points per game in year 15, and the big three in Phoenix are finally clicking. But take a listen to this conversation with his manager, Rich Kleinman, on the boardroom, where he shares his thoughts on his ability to lead.
I don't feel like I need to. I don't feel like I want people to call me a leader, but I also don't want people to say I'm not one either. And they don't see what goes on behind the scenes or what I talk about or my intentions. When guys like that say that, I just got to chalk it up to them just not being aware of what goes on instead of like wanting to push a narrative for myself, maybe not a narrative, or tell the truth for myself. If I don't feel like it's necessary, I'll just chalk it up to those guys not being aware of who I am.
How do you not know who he is? Now, everyone has different styles of leadership. No superstars really operate the same way. So the question is, can KD lead this Phoenix Suns team to a championship?
I think it's very possible. And, you know, to your point, Sinead, there are different types of leading. You could be a Draymond who's very vocal, or you could be a Steph who kind of goes by example. You could be a Kawhi Leonard who doesn't talk a lot but had a huge impact in running that Raptors team to a championship that year. Was that 2018 or something like that? So there are different types and styles of leadership. To sit here and say that Kevin Durant has never been a leader to a team would just be a slap in the face and a disservice, just considering the type of player he is. You don't do what you do. You don't do what he does on a basketball court and not have a say on what goes on in the locker room or in huddles or in the final moments of a game. Leadership comes, like we said, in many forms, and I have seen this guy night in and night out, year in and year out, perform for his team and lead his team. We talk about him going to the finals, him winning championships. A lot of it with Kevin Durant, I think a lot of people hate on him or don't view him as a leader just because of that move to the Warriors. But people understand the only thing he did with that Warriors dynasty is just make it.
Yeah. He was a two-time finals MVP with the Warriors. He was an MVP before that.
And that team became unbeatable when he went there.
Correct.
I'm not saying the Warriors wouldn't have won again, but let's be honest here. It is what it is. And that comes from play and leadership, man. I mean, that's why him and Draymond had times where they got into it, because vocally they both would voice their concerns or frustrations within the huddle. That starts from him being a leader.
Perk,
he definitely has leadership qualities. I mean, Perk, you can speak on it. You played with him.
Well, here we are again. Didn't you and I have this conversation about 2 or 3 weeks ago when I specifically told you just because you're the best player on the team doesn't make you the leader?
Yeah, that's when you said Pat Beverly's going to lead the Bucks.
Hold on, time out. I said, okay, just Kevin Durant, I played 4 years with him. I know KD.
I know.
You could assume and see what you want to watch. He leads by example, right? He's going to go out there and perform. He's going to show up and be a gym rat. I've never seen a championship team, that has won a championship without having a vocal leader in a locker room. And you need that. And right now, I can't point at the Phoenix Suns and say, who is their vocal leader? And sometimes you have to step outside of your comfort zone. You know what was one of the best moments at this past All-Star weekend? I'm going to tell you, because it wasn't too many of them, I'll tell you that much. But one of the best moments was actually when Damian Lillard was sitting up there and Shaq gave him advice, where he was basically telling them, up your leadership, hold guys accountable. That's how you're going to get to the top. Hold yourself accountable. He was basically calling Dame out and telling them to be more vocal. And you could see Dame soaking it all in and accepting it. So if the Phoenix Suns are trying to take that leap, and Kevin Durant is the only player on there with the real championship experience because he finished the mission, he's the oldest guy on that team, in my opinion, for as vet-wise, he has to take that leap and get outside of his comfort zone and become more of a vocal leader if he hasn't already.
Well, Wendy, I know you've seen Phoenix play in person a lot. Go ahead, Wendy.
Perk, I respect what you're saying so much about vocal leader. You are a champion. You've been on multiple teams that have been championship contenders. I respect what you're saying. But the fastest way to upset me is people who disrespect Kevin Durant. This guy's career has been absolutely spectacular. He has earned everything. He doesn't need for anything. I don't care what anybody says. The 2017 Warriors do not win without him. I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely
not. That was arguably the best. There was the best team that maybe LeBron was ever on. They got whipped. And I'm not even talking directly at you, Perk. I'm just saying in general. The only flaw that I've ever seen in Durant's game. And by the way, you want to see a leader? How about if you ever have a Jones fracture in your foot or you ever have a torn Achilles tendon? There's a leader, Kevin Durant. He came back from those injuries like nothing. Those are devastating injuries. Came right back from them. The only thing that's ever been an issue with Kevin Durant is he's too worried about what other people think. And the fact that he's talking about worrying about people think of him as a leader is another verification of that. Everything else, he is almost peerless. And his hard work pays off. And if you want to say that the Suns can't win because they don't have somebody who can rally the locker room, you may be right on that. But nobody has anything to say anything to me about Kevin Durant.
Quick final word here, Perk.
Y'all picking them?
I'm not picking them, but I'm not. Let's not act like they don't have enough firepower to go out there and contend.
But I'm not disrespecting Kevin Durant. Even with the Denver Nuggets, they had Jeff Green and Caldwell Pope as they vocal leaders.
Try to boast at what I look like. Keep them going, try to wear, pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA, I'm a